Hello, Dr. Picklestein here. I'm in my car. You may be wondering why. Well, let me tell you. About a day ago, or 2 days ago, I posted the Dr. Picklestein Science Challenge, and that was to determine the mass of your car. I said mass, I mean the weight of your car. Using only a tire gauge, where you can measure the gauge, the tire pressure, 4 pieces of paper, a pen, a ruler, and if you need, a calculator. So, here's what I've done, and I'll show you, but let me turn off my car here. I just finished backing my car over 4 pieces of paper so that I could get, I'll show you, so that I could get my tire completely over each page of paper. So, let me take you out and show you what I'm... Okay, so now you know what we're trying to do. We're trying to measure the mass, the weight of my car using a pressure gauge, a pen, and I have now carefully backed up my tires over I backed up the car onto 4 pieces of paper. Now I'm going to just mark the corners where my car is touching, and then later I'll use the ruler to connect the dots. So let's try it here. So here's a corner. Right about there. I'm going to go ahead right away and measure the tire pressure on this car. And that's the other piece of data I need. And I'm going to do this for each of the 4 tires. I won't bother you with taking those measurements. .39 psi, pounds per square inch. So right now I'm marking the footprint that where my car is touching, and then I'm writing down 39 psi, pounds per square inch. I'm going to do that for the other 4 tires right now, and you don't need to see that. I'll catch up with you when I'm done. Okay, so now I'm in my house. You saw that what I did, I went ahead and I tried to figure out where the footprint of my car was, so I knew just how much of that tire was touching the ground. Because then that amount of space that tire was hitting the ground with was supporting the entire weight of the car. If I could calculate the square inches that represented where the tire contacted the ground, so that'd be square inches, and then I could be measuring the pressure in pounds per square inch. Then I can multiply the square inches by the pounds per square inches to figure out how many pounds each of those tires was supporting. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And then once I figure out how many pounds each tire is supporting, there's 4 tires, I will add them together. And then we will see if this works. I think it will. Okay, now, what I have here is the paper with some marks. Now I can see already that actually my tire only went up that far, even though I marked it that far. So I'm going to go by the tire imprint that my tire made to get the width, and I'm pretty sure about these marks here. That's where my tire started. So what I did was I pulled my car forward, and then I backed it out the same way. That way, I backed my car onto this and then I pulled forward. That way I could mark where my tire stopped anyway, and then use this mark to determine where my tire started. And from this now I can calculate the square inches that this much of the tire took. So I'm going to go ahead and trace that out with a ruler. And that was pretty accurate there. and I turned on, so I have to really do that. I turned this one, so I'm going to estimate by this edge here. So then, let's see, if I measure this one, it's going to be 6 inches. So 4.5 inches. Okay, so I got 27 square inches times 40. This one, so this tire now, after you repeat that same set of calculations where you get the area and then multiply it by the pounds per square inch, now you're ready to add all 4 tires up. And I've done that. I spared you having to watch the whole thing. Now here are the numbers. So we need to add up all of our tires together. So here we go. So I had so the pounds of car then is going to be equal to pounds supported by tire 1 plus the pounds supported by tire 2 plus the pounds supported by tire 3 plus the pounds supported by tire 4. So this is how mine turn out, and they're not super similar in every case. There's definitely some error apparent, but you saw me get 1,080 pounds, plus then on another tire I got 1,170 pounds, plus on another tire I got 1,100 pounds. So those aren't too bad, but then I had one that was 1,390 pounds, and no matter how I looked at that footprint, I couldn't trim it down without actually fudging the data, and I didn't want to do that. So if I add all those together, let's see, I haven't done that yet, so let me get my calculator so I can. Here's my calculator. Okay, so we'll add all those together. Let's see here, so you can see that I'm actually doing this on my calculator. So 1080 plus 1170 plus 1100 plus 1390. Okay, so I come up with 4,740 pounds. Now, I happened to already know what my car weighs because I looked it up in the Edmunds guide and it gives the specifications on cars. And I have a Nissan Quest, 2005 Nissan Quest. And so for the 2005 Nissan Quest, the curb weight, which is the weight of just the car and nothing else in it. Now I got a few things in my car, but I don't think I have as much as I'm seeing I'm off by. So it lists it as 4,012 pounds. And I got 4,740. That's not terrible, really, if you think about it. Now, if I want to calculate how much I'm off, I can calculate my error. And to do that, I'll calculate my percent error. And that's really going to be my percent difference in error. And so what I'll do is I will take 4,740, that's what I measured, minus my ideal, which would be what it was supposed to be based on the car specs, divided by 4012 times 100%. And let's see. So then if I want to get my percent error, I just punch that into the old calculator. So I got 4,740. Let's see here. Minus 4012 equals 728 divided by 4012 and multiply by 100. And that gives me about 18% error. You know, I'll take that. That's better than I expected. 18% error. Now, I can tell you I already know where that error is coming from. It's coming from the way that I marked off the square inches, because it wasn't always straightforward. I tried to get it as best as I could. So the thing I haven't figured out is how to best get a more accurate measure of that. Maybe if I sprayed paint or something around it, but then that causes a mess. I'll take 18% error, and maybe of that 712 pounds that I'm off, or what, 728 pounds, duh, I guess that's pretty obvious. 728 pounds, maybe of that, with the stuff I already have in my car, maybe 128 of that pounds, or maybe even 150 of those pounds, might just be stuff that's in the car. So maybe it isn't completely inaccurate. So anyway, that was pretty fun. So hopefully you can do that with your car. See if you can beat 18% error. I think I was kind of lucky.